benefit for themselves and each other.
And that's excellent. And set up a telephone tree where one person calls 5, they call 5, however it works, so that if one of these IRS agents shows up, you can say, we don't want to do business with your corporation. You have no reason. You're not legit. Oh, you're acting as an officer of the law, and you are a corporation. I think that's impersonating an officer, don't you think? Oh, you don't have a permit to carry that firearm concealed? Oh, that's not right in this county. And boy, I tell you what, you want to come back here, you're going to be met every time with a bunch of us, because we're going to set the word out, and we're going to surround you, and we just might follow you back to your den. And I tell you what, we can starve them to death one agent at a time. One agency at a time. Now, however you want to run with this, you do it. Now, we're putting together a CD, and I'm going to make a rant. I'm going to make an audio rant so somebody can just sit there and listen to it and go, oh, wow, all the problems, somebody else is going to do the solution, which is what I just told you. But
well, I tell
you got to run with the county level.
Got to share a little story, and I won't give any names. But a good friend of mine here in Georgia, him and his buddies, they all open carry. They always have their guns on their hips. It's an open carry state. And a friend of theirs sued an IRS agent. And there was an affidavit involved, which, of course, in order for an affidavit to be lawful, legal, it's got to be notarized. And one of their other friends was the notary who notarized the document. And one morning, the notary used his phone tree, and he called up my friend, and he said, hey, I think you need to pick up so-and-so and come on down here. They live near each other. He says, why? Well, there's a Department of Treasury guy here. Says he wants to talk to me. So he says, I'm telling him I'm not talking to him until you get here. So they went down there. And like I said, they carry their guns on their hips. They walk in. Guy's standing there holding 2 pieces of paper, and my friend takes a piece of paper, says, what you got here? Turns out to be the notary page of the affidavit. And he's looking at that, and he says, well, he says, you wouldn't happen to have a copy of your oath on you, would you? And the guy got so scared, he grabbed the paper out of my friend's hand, reached in his pocket, grabbed a mace gun, and held it up, and backed up to the door and ran out into the street.
And ladies, I expect to see matching handbags and holsters, okay?
You know, my guys didn't threaten him in any way. They didn't even make, their guns are in the holstered and they're snapped down. They didn't threaten the guy in any way, but that's all it took for him to see, oh, man, I don't want to talk to these people.
These criminals are criminals, and they know it.
Yep.
Okay, guys, guess what?
What?
The other part of what I was trying to say before
thank you.
Is very simple. The ideology here is to educate people that they are free. That's first. The other part is that we have taken the steps to do so on a lawful basis, etc. The third part of the puzzle, if you want to see the White Knight and see the action, then we need to get the word out to literally everybody, even people you don't like or talk to very much. It don't matter. What I'm trying to express is that the importance of this is you have a choice. And if you go to Turner Classic Movies, you can see them old Nazi movies. You got a choice. You want to live like that, or do you want to be able to walk out and whiz in the yard because you own it? Your choice. It's real simple. It's not complicated. If you want to have the freedom, and I mean the God-given freedoms that are guaranteed to us, you like the Bill of Rights. You might even like the Constitution pretty good if you read it once in a while. The thing that is going on right now is that the people that have been in charge for about the last 1,800 years, give or take, are beginning to understand that their time is up. One of the reasons that we are having the financial problems we are having is because the non-aligned nations have decided that you're not coming into our country and taking our wealth any longer.
Yep.
That cuts the apron string to the banks. That puts them basically on notice. Now, I'm going to name a country. It's called Iran. It is dealing in gold, and or it is dealing in rupees, and or anything but the dollar.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of people doing the same thing in terms of countries.
Yep.
Now, it was mentioned tonight on one of the recordings about Greece, and Greece was referring to Iceland, that they may take that out. The Premier of Iceland declared officially that the debt that they owed had been based on fraud, and therefore the whole of it was fraudulent.
And not only that, but Iceland didn't get attacked.
Hold on a minute. This is the reason that, and the only reason that right now, Europe cannot bail itself out. Iceland said, no, you ain't cleaning out the shoebox. You're not taking the treasury, and you ain't cleaning out the banks. Very simple. They've been cut off. When you can no longer pay the thugs, they ain't going to beat nobody up for you. Just that simple. The idea of being afraid of these people, oh, they're going to come see us.
Nope.
Don't bet on it. If they can't afford to buy the gas to get there, they're not going to bother you.
And the military isn't with them anymore.
Exactly.
Not only that, guys, there's another issue. Many of the listeners out there, you've read about it and you know. There are large numbers of foreign troops on our soil. They've been training here for a very, very long time. There are more just on the other side of both borders, north and south. And Obama planned to use those for martial law. However, those foreign troops are mercenaries. Mercenaries make war for money. They don't risk their lives for an ideology or for nothing. They've got to be paid. Our federal government is beyond broke. That's why there's no budget. You can't budget a negative number. They have no money. They can't pay those mercenaries.
Also,
he can declare martial law if he wants, but if he can't pay them, they're going to go home.
Also, these people were brought over here, ham-band chatter from probably 2 years ago now. Some troops, okay, the enlisted men who are foreign troops on our soil, generally speaking, cannot speak English at all. Now, the officers can speak English. But some foreign troops who were enlisted men learned enough English, this, that, and the other. They got out amongst the public. I can't remember. I think it was Indiana. I can't remember, though. And they basically said, we were brought here under false pretenses. We were here to protect the wonderful American government against terrorists. And they did not even know that normal American people had guns, folks, and they don't want to be here. They want out. So don't let them scare the poop out of you. That's their number one thing. Their number one thing. We're going to get you. Oh, the boogeyman. Julius Caesar did the same damn thing.
Well, there's more to it than that, too.
Thank you.
Before the foreign troops were massed on both the borders, China and Russia were offered to be assisted in invading our country. Russia said, I don't want to talk to you about it. China had a conversation. And the gist of it was very simple. We note that gun sales keep doubling and tripling. We note that these guns are being purchased by citizens. That means that each and every last person is armed. This also means that we're going to have to crunch some numbers. And we'll get back to you in a couple of days. All well and good. A couple of days later, China, through an embassy, calls up and says, we'd like you to have a conversation on the black phone, direct line, secure line. And this is, I think it was I wouldn't know what you'd call it in China. It's the vice president, basically. And he and the commander of the armed forces there read the numbers off. That if they armed people beyond what they have in the way of a standing army, that if they were to be successful in invading the United States, they could expect 85% casualties. And they said that was totally unacceptable. and there was no way. So you've had two of the great powers on this planet say that the United States is armed to the teeth, and apparently they have an attitude about people that show up telling them what to do, especially if they don't speak the language. Consequently, I don't think we're going to have a problem. They're broke, plus
peaceful.
Nobody will officially take any action because they're not that stupid.
Just be peaceful.
Take the fear and forget it.
Now,
go ahead and put this information out that we have, that several of us have made available to y'all, and put it out wide. Send it to everybody you can think of. Make sure that everybody hears something about it. It shows that Obama treasonously wants a cut of funds that, first of all, he doesn't have any right to, and secondly, are official funds. That's embezzlement, among other things. And
blackmail.
Well, he was happy with his amount. Then all of a sudden, he needed more. The reason he needed more was that the word got out, and everybody else wants their cut. If this is about this is all. It's available online at squirrely.com or something probably. Conspiracy theory and Ring Around a Rosie only goes so far. The stuff that we are dealing with here is real. There's a very big difference.
Yeah.
And that's
some conspiracies
my little spiel.
Are not theories. Some conspiracies are just what they are. Plans. They're plans. Real. And at this moment, I would like to take the opportunity to warn all of the American people and all you listeners out there, anything you see in the newspaper, in a magazine, on mainstream media about Iran making violent moves toward the United States is false. It is a plan to set up a false flag event to usher in World War III, an excuse for us to go to war with Iran. I read a plan earlier today where they were planning on taking out one of our U.S. ships, naval ship, and sink it and blame it on Iran. So listen to the mainstream media. Do not buy that crap. If they know we know, they won't do it.
Now, something else. This is violence you need to be very, very concerned with. If you form a group and you're sitting there educating people this, that, and the other, and if you have some jackass in there who's talking violence, who's thinking about doing violent things, get rid of him. There's a good chance he is an agent provocateur designed to make it violent, to pin our men in uniform against those who are not wearing a uniform. This is evil. But that is real violence you need to be very, very aware of. If you have anybody talking violence, you get rid of them in your local group.
The idea of being armed as a citizenry is so that you don't have to shoot.
Thank you. You negotiate from a position of strength. But if you have somebody who wants to go violent, there's a very good chance that he's going to end up, is going to get some. If you do anything, it can get violent and people go to the hospital. And I'll tell you what, you tell the police where you are, and you tell your county sheriffs, even if they're evil criminals, say, listen, if we get somebody violent, comes out against you, we'll take them down from inside. We'll get their ID, and we'll hand them over to you. So this should be notification to anybody who wants to do anything violent. Buddy, you are not going to get away with this agent provocateur crap. Now, that's real violence you need to be concerned with.
One of the things that most people do not know is that each and every last group, and I'm talking about militia groups primarily because they were the ones targeted, who have exercised their freedoms, has been infiltrated.
Yep.
99% of those groups that were taken down in the form of raids and arrests, the person who was offering plastic explosives and things of this nature to the group was an agent, FBI or CIA or NSA, didn't matter.
And I'll tell you how they do this crap. Let's say you may have a patriot. Now, this happened back in the 80s in West Virginia, a super-duper patriot, really good guy, this, that, and the other. Well, the feds found out that he had a problem with outside women, all right? And so what they did was he was a contractor, he was a man who had some money, and this, that, and the other. They said, well, we're going to blow your outside women information everywhere unless you do what we